A very good evening to all of you joining us live here. Thank you so much for tuning in to Shiksha's live session on CAT preparations. And yet, just left not more than 100 days. So I think, this every single day is very, very important and very, very crucial for all the CAT aspirants out here, right? And Shiksha is trying to make the best of the left days for you. And we have our different experts joining us on these sessions, sharing their advices, sharing valuable information for all of you. And on this context, we'd like to welcome Sunny Agarwal, CAT mentor from IMS. Sir, thank you so very much for joining us today on Shiksha.
Thank you, Bhagrashri. Thank you for having me. I think we are just left with 90 odd days for CAT prep, less than 90 odd days to be precise. And this is one of those times where every CAT aspirant will feel that sense of nervous energy will always be there, because most of them will be writing the exam for the very first time. And we all understand how exam days are, right? We have all gone through those days. And as students also, and as mentors also, somebody grown up also, we also know that we are always in that situation that pull and push always happens, right? So today we'll discuss some key strategies and key ideas which can help us to overcome the exam challenges that we are going to have, the nervous energy that we have. And I am going to present some key information and key strategies to somebody who's preparing, has been preparing for months, and somebody who has just started off now, right? So this particular session would be useful for both the section of students, both the segment of students. So let's do it.
Absolutely. And I think all of you should be prepared with a pen and notepad, definitely, to put down all the important key points that our mentors are sharing during these sessions. All the videos are available on our channels. You just have to go back, rewind, pause, and listen to the sessions, and you're all set for CAT 2025. Yes, sir.
Right. So not 100 days exactly. We are left with 87, 88 days. So I would rather name this session as a final sprint, right? If you're running a marathon, then this final leg is one of the most critical. No matter what you have done in the last 2 years or last 1 year, last 12 months, if you're not doing well for the last 3 months or last 2 months, then all the effort that you have put in goes to vain, right? So we will discuss some key aspects. So I've divided the entire session in 5 key areas. We'll be discussing about each one of them in detail. First, let us name all those 5 key areas that we're going to talk about. Is the mastering the initial jolt. So most of us have just woke up now that okay, we are just 90 days away from the exams. So even if we've been preparing for months, like we have been associated with a coaching institute, we have enrolled ourselves, but it is that time of the year that we are very closer to our CAT prep, CAT exams. Now we feel that real jolt. Okay, the exams is knocking the door actually. So what needs to be done? क्या करना चाहिए actually में? ठीक है. Again, because of that, we are very fearful कि ये टॉपिक करना है, ये टॉपिक छोड़ देना है, किस तरह से आगे बढ़ना है. We'll discuss those things as well. किसी भी एग्जाम में या लाइफ में कुछ भी पाने के लिए you need to have a lot of grit, right? You need to have that growth mindset. We'll talk about that as well. Again, how to balance, how to have that, maintain that energy through and through for the next 90 odd days to get the best out of yourself, right? And last but not the least, we will also talk about how to sustain ourselves, right? How to keep us going no matter we are the kind of days we're going to have. We are all going to have good days and bad days no matter what you do in life. And when it comes to CAT as well, you're going to have bad marks, good marks. We'll be talking about those things, that how to sustain ourselves, how to sustain bad days and keep on going, so that we'll get to see the light at the end of the period, right? So let's talk about first mastering the initial jolt. Now, once you when you're talking about CAT is against one of the most toughest entrance management entrance exam in the world, right? So once you get hold of the syllabus, you'll realize that there is too much to cover with less time in hand, right? So you've got 70, 75 odd topics, and it's very difficult to understand which topics to go to put your hands on and which topics to spare, right? So the first advice or the first key thing that needs to be done before preparing for any exam, be it CAT or any other exam, that we should know our syllabus really well. Know our syllabus really well. And then the good part, I'll tell you some of the one of the comfortable and uncomfortable truths. The comfortable truth is that we have all been preparing for CAT exams consciously or unconsciously. And you'll get to know more about that once you know the syllabus. See, when it comes to syllabus, CAT has three sections, right? We have got VRC, that is the English part. Then we have got the DILR part, that is the logical reasoning and data interpretation part. And the last but not the least, we have got the quant part, that's the maths part. Now, a lot of people, especially coming from commerce and art graduates, they have left mathematics, they've left maths after 10th standard because of the fear or the hatred towards the subject. But the good part is that you have already gone through it once, right? So you will not get to meet a newer concepts. All the concept that you have gone through once in your life needs to be brushed up once again, right? That's the only thing that is required. So the good part is, the comfortable part is that we have already gone through it once. We have done it unconsciously, we have not done it pretty well, but we have done it once. So that's the good part. The uncomfortable part would be that we have to go through it again, and in a way that will be slightly challenging, slightly different from what we have done, how the school kids prepare for their school exams. So this is slightly different from that. Now, when it comes to CAT exams, you'll also realize that once we talk about the target colleges and target schools, you'll also realize that not everything needs to be done unlike your school and college exams. Like when we write our school exams or college exams, the idea is to answer each and every question. But when it comes to CAT exam, it is an aptitude exam, not a technical exam, right? So you're not supposed to solve each and every question. So the kind of question that you need to attempt, the kind of question you need to ignore, depends a lot on your strength and weak areas that we're going to talk just right now. Now, understand this. When we are very fearful of something, or when we are jolted or shaken up by something, the first thing that needs to happen is we need to gain a lot of clarity about what's coming our way. There is no two ways about that. We need to be very, very clear about what's coming our way. So gaining clarity is one of the most key aspects. And for that to happen, first thing is that we need to know the syllabus really well. Next, we need to know the exam pattern. So when you talk about the exam pattern, post-COVID, from 2014 to 2019, CAT used to have a 100 question exam. In the COVID year, we had 76 question. Post-COVID, from 21 to 2024, we had 66 questions in some years and 68 questions in some years. So it has been compressed into a 2 hour exam, right? It is no longer a 3 hour exam that used to be pre-COVID. Now, having said that, we have had 66 questions, 24 questions in VARC, that comprises of 16 questions in RCs, 8 questions in verbal ability, 20 questions in DILR, that comprises of 4 sets of 5 questions each, and QA, quantitative aptitude, comprises of 22 questions that needs to be attempted in 40 minutes. Now, again, this seems a little difficult because you're always running against time, right? But there is a solution to that as well. Now, I'll talk about the target score. So, as I mentioned, we had 66 to 68 questions, which have 3 marks per question. If you get it right, you get 3 marks per question. If you get it wrong, there is a negative marking of -1. So, you need to be very comfortable. We need to be very sure that if you're attempting a particular question, we need to get it right. So, high accuracy is a no-brainer over here. We need to be accurate as much as possible, right? Now, talking about target scores. Now, if if we are targeting top schools, top B schools, so anything above 99 percentile will give us a good chance to make it there, right? So for that to happen, out of 66 or 68 questions that comes, you need to crack only half of them. You can just see on the screen as well. Out of 66 or 68 questions, if we have cracked 32 to 34 questions, then we are among the top 1% students in the country, top 1% test takers in the country. That gives us a very good chance of converting a top B school. Right. So this makes our job very clear. This gives us a lot of clarity that we are not here to target each and every topic. We are not here supposed to attempt each and every question. Right? We'll attempt only those questions or only those topics which we are comfortable with. So that will help us bifurcate our strength areas and weak areas. Right. For 99 percentile, we need to get 32 questions right. For 97, we have got 26. For 95, you need to correct 23. And for 90, you need to correct 19. Now, this data that we have is very consistent, more or less consistent for the past 4 years. If you are cracking 50% of the questions correctly, trust me, you are among the top 1% students of the test takers in the country. And that keeps you in a very good state to try for good B school, to help you convert a good B school, right? Now, the other aspect would be cracking the fear code. We are very fearful. So we don't know anything about the topics. We don't have any conceptual clarity. How can we crack the exam? Right. So for the first part is you're not supposed to solve each and every question. You're not supposed to solve only 50% of the question to make yourself in the top 1% or top 0.4 to top 0.5% in the country. Now, the keyword over here would be prioritize. How I can prioritize. So I would rather say, if I was in your shoes, I would rather attempt a mock. For me to understand, once I've known the syllabus, I've known the topics that we have gone through, percentages, profit and losses. I've gone through these topics once in my school life, right? So before going there further, I would rather write a mock and see whether I'm able to handle those questions, or I'm still struggling to understand the basics of questions. Where am I right now in my prep strategy day, right? Now, once we have known the syllabus, this is basically the whole syllabus that we have. Now, as I mentioned before, I'll reiterate that we don't need to crack everything, right? What do smart fools do? People who make it to top B schools, they prioritize topics and segments based on their strengths and weaknesses, right? Now, when we are talking about these three segments, we have quants, we have DILR, and then we have VARC. In quants, as you can see, there are 5 segments in which I have divided the entire quants. That is arithmetic, algebra, number system, geometry, and modern maths. Now you can see that arithmetic and algebra has been marked with red. This means that these are must-to-do topics. Out of 22 questions that you get to see in CAT exam, you will realize once you see the past year papers that around 60% of the questions, that is around 13 to 14 questions, comes from arithmetic and algebra. And the good part is the arithmetic is the most easiest section. We have gone through that once as well in our school life. And the good part is this is one of the most weighted section in quant. So you will get to see 7 to 8 questions from arithmetic for sure, right? So that keeps us in a very good position. That if we have aged those 6 7 topics that we have in arithmetic, what are those topics? Percentages, profit and loss, ratio proportion, SICI, means and weighted averages, mixtures and alligation, time, speed and distance, right? If we have aged these 7 8 topics, we have kept ourselves in a very good position to crack that arithmetic section. Now, talking about algebra. Now, people coming from commerce and arts background might not feel very comfortable with algebra, but a little bit of effort from your end, learning the polynomials, the basic algebra polynomials, quadratic equations, linear equations, will help you crack those 2 3 questions, 4 questions as well. So this is good enough. If you crack this is good enough to help you get 97 to 98 percentile, even closer to 99 percentile, if you have a decent command, or I would rather say, if you have superficial knowledge of modern math, geometry, and number system as well. Number system comprises of SCF, LCM, and other basic topics that we've already gone through in school, right? Moving to DILR. Now, DILR section is one section where you will get to see something that you have not prepared before, but this is something where you don't need to prepare anything in advance as well. What I mean by that is, what you need to do is you need to go back to the previous year questions of DILR that you have seen in CAT papers, past year papers. You'll get to see some 20 years papers, and you will see that every year 4 or 5 sets have turned up. So you need to go through all the sets properly. You need to try to solve each one of them. And for that, trust me, you don't need any theory. All you need is common sense. And you will build that. Even if you don't have that habit of solving questions, you will build that by solving those questions. If you don't crack it, you will get to see the solution of it. And with time, you will internalize it as well. So you will try it again and again. And in the process of trying it a couple of times, you'll realize that you will be able to do it multiple times. You will be able to crack it at some point in time, right? So for example, in this, if I've bifurcated, if you hold on to the past year papers of last 20 years, and you have got close to 100 sets, 5 sets per year, almost 4 to 5 sets per year, you have 100 sets. And if you're targeting 4 to 5 sets on a daily basis, you'll be able to cover that in 20 days. So in 20 good days, you will be in a good position to understand the kind of questions that CAT offers in the DILR sets, right? Trust me, you don't need to do anything beyond that. If you have aced each and everything in as much detail as possible, you will be left with no surprises in the CAT exam for sure, right? This is one section where you can do really well in a very short span of time. Coming to VRC comprises of 24 questions in 40 minutes. Now, the reading comprehension part is that the RC that has 16 questions. Now, this particular section is an attempt section. The more you attempt, the better chances you have of cracking this section. Now, some of you might question me saying, sir, we have done decent command over the vocabulary. We are not avid book readers. How do you think we'll be able to understand the RCs? The RCs are a bit complicated. How do you think we'll be able to handle it? See, the good part is that a lot of people who have done even PhDs in VR, PhDs in English, they also can't make a claim that they will be able to ace VRC section. I'll tell you why. Because see, the reading comprehension section doesn't really test your vocabulary. It does test it, but it doesn't. The main idea of reading comprehension is not to test your vocabulary, but to make you to help you to rather check or challenge your ability to understand the entire story, right? Entire idea. So the kind of questions you will get to see is not what is the meaning of this particular question word, or what is the meaning of this particular paragraph. They would rather say what is the main idea behind this. So once you understand and realize and internalize the entire paragraph that you essay that you've gone through, you will be in a very good position to handle it, right? So you can do really well in a short span of time. For that, I would rather encourage you to solve 4 to 5 RCs on a daily basis. We'll come to that. We'll speak about that more in the coming sections. Again, as I mentioned, the red marked ones are the non-negotiables ones. You must do it no matter what. Now, if you've been already preparing, if you've been somebody who have already been preparing CAT prep, so what you need to do is you need to write mocks, understand where your weak areas are. Then on the next day, you need to analyze those mocks. Again, focus on the weak areas. Again, day 3, you're supposed to focus on your weak areas. Day 4, again, you're supposed to write mocks. So the idea should be that you should be able to write 2 mocks on a weekly basis. Right, somebody who's always been preparing and focus on the weak area. For somebody who started off new, as I mentioned, you have to start off with arithmetic, DILR sets, and understand how to approach RCs. Again, for you also, you're supposed to write 2 mocks every week. Now you need to check exam readiness. For exam readiness, what you need to do is you need to solve 100 PYQs of algebra, arithmetic, geometry, modern math, and number system. Please ensure that you invest 60% of the time in arithmetic and algebra because that has the maximum weightage in the CAT quants paper. Coming to DLR, make sure the 10 parts I have divided the entire DLR sections into. So try to solve at least 15 sets of each of those parts, each of those types of sets, right? That will keep you in very good stead. Talking about VRC, again, we have got 40 minutes, right? And you will, for 40 minutes also, you've got 16 questions for RC, and for 10 questions, you will have from the VA, verbal ability part. So I'd rather suggest that try to solve RCs in a time-bound manner. If you don't know how to approach RCs, you can use GMAT Ninja YouTube channel on how to approach RCs, or also you can watch Jijo's videos, that is RC, that talks often speaks about how to crack RCs, para jumble, para completion, and all those aspects. If you are self-preparing, these will do really well for you, or you can also rely on your CAT VRC mentor as well, right? If you are associated with some coaching institute. Again, are we writing 2 mocks? If we're not writing 2 mocks, then we are not keeping ourselves, if we're not preparing ourselves, to be very honest, right? Focusing on weak areas, analyzing is a must key factor before we write another mock. See, remember, CAT is nothing but concept clarity, problem solving, that is ability to apply your concepts, and test taking skills. That is what CAT is all about. टॉकिंग अबाउट ग्रिथ एंड ग्रोथ माइंडसेट, तो क्रैक करने के लिए सबसे बड़ा वेपन ना तो ट्रिक्स है ना तो शॉर्टकट्स है, सबसे बड़ा वेपन है तुम्हारा ग्रिथ और ग्रोथ माइंडसेट. पहला चीज, डोंट थिंक टू मच अहेड ऑफ टाइम. अगर आप पहाड़ के सामने खड़े हो, डोंट थिंक लुक एट द पीक ऑफ द माउंटेन एंड थिंक हाउ विल आई गो देयर. जस्ट फोकस ऑन द नेक्स्ट थिंग दैट यू आर सपोज टू डू. Focus on the task at hand. 20 quant problems, 2 LRDI sets, and 2 RCs is the next job for the next couple of hours. Just focus on that, right? Know that success is repeatedly doing the same boring thing without losing enthusiasm. It will happen no matter what you do, wherever you are, in which field, whatever you try in life, you have to repeatedly doing it to get better at it, right? So you have to keep on doing it. There is no other way out. You have to learn to celebrate small victories. At times we neglect the good things that we have done and focus on only the things that we are finding it difficult. But it's important to celebrate small victories. That keeps us a lot of confidence, right? Also, a bad mock is not equal to failure. It just spots your weak areas. It helps you understand where you're going wrong, which are your weak areas, and you to get better at it. That is how you should see a bad mock. It is not at all equal to failure. Again, talking about mental fuel, you need to know that last 90 days, you have to be ruthless in your prep. And the most important thing that will help you is your brain, keeping your brain as much of fresh as possible, right? Try to sleep on time. Make sure you have 6 to 7 hours of good sleep. Don't try to minimize your sleeping hours. It will affect your day very badly. You'll not be able to focus. Make sure you have sufficient nutrition. Don't overeat, don't undereat. Keep yourself in good energy so that you can really push yourself very hard throughout the day. Study during CAT slot. It's very important. You don't know which slot you'll be writing the CAT exam, right? And whenever you study, I always advise to all my students as well, you should try to study for a span of 2 hours. That will help you build that mental stamina to sit for 2 hours during the CAT exam as well, right? And as there's a very popular mantra, eat, study, sleep, repeat, right? Keep on doing the same thing for the next 90 days, and that will open a lot of doors for you for sure. Again, when we talk about sustaining the sprint, discipline is everything. There is no way, there is no alternative to discipline in life. The other aspect that I'll talk about is, tell yourself that 3 months from now is gonna be the most hardworking and ruthless days of your life. Be completely ruthless in those 3 months of your life. It'll open doors of your dreams. You don't realize the kind of things coming your way if you just become very ruthless and brutal for the next 3 months. Don't just make it very casual, make it very ruthless, and make it very brutal for yourself. Self-doubt kills your dreams more than you do. So this again a very important, this is a very popular phrase. Don't self-doubt yourself. No matter if you're very underconfident with your CAT prep, work the hardest. Rather than feeling depressed about it, take this as an opportunity and work the hardest rather than doubting yourself. Right? You never know the kind of, you would not realize the kind of damage self-doubt does to you unless you grow 10 years down in your unless you grow 10 years in your life and help a junior yourself, right? You'll realize self-doubt is very self-sabotaging, right? Another thing is power of visualization. Try to sit down with yourself for a few minutes every day and visualize that you have cracked CAT. This is one of the most underrated things. People talk about power of visualization, but this is one of the most underrated things people do. You should sit down with yourself every day, keep yourself less distracted, keep yourself rid of phones, social medias, and everything away, and sit with yourself. This optimal feeling that you have done it will give you a lot of energy, a lot of optimistic energy to go through the bad days and everyday obstacles that you go through, right? Again, nothing beats consistency. No matter how talented or not talented you are, if you're consistent, it will make you become expert at it, right? So consistency is the best thing that you can do to yourself. Be consistent. Again, as I mentioned, one bad mock is not equal to failure. Now you should write this in front of your study table and keep on reading this on an everyday basis, right? It will give you that mental energy back the time you're going through a bad mock. If you can convert fear, change this into a positive mindset, that mindset will build you a stamina for you. It will give you a lot of consistency, and that eventually lead to success. As I mentioned, 100 days can actually change your life, right? Your IM seat is waiting. If you wish to connect with me, this is my LinkedIn account. You can connect with me on this. If you have any personal questions, you can drop me a DM as well. Thank you, everyone. Right. So if you have any questions for me, I will be more than happy to answer those questions. You can watch this video again and again to understand uh, what needs to be done. In terms of, see, one thing is that when you have plans to write an exam which is 90 days away, it doesn't make sense to think too much ahead of time. Don't plan for 90 days. Plan for the next 3 days, plan for the next 4 days. Try to uh, make sure that you give equal amount of time to all the three sections for now. Unless unless you write mocks and realize these are your strengths areas and these are your weak areas, I would rather suggest that sit down with yourself, try to solve a couple of RCs, couple of LRDI sets, and few quant questions, and then take a break and then move on to then do the same thing again and again, because it will eventually help you build stamina in all the three sections, make you realize your strength areas and weak areas, right? Talking about quants, it is very, very imperative now at this point in time to ensure that you are focusing on arithmetic if you're a beginner. If you're somebody who has already aged arithmetic and algebra, I would rather suggest that you should ensure that you solve a lot of PYQs, so solve a lot of higher order thinking skills question, a lot of difficult questions that will eventually help you to to target those difficult questions that generally others leave, right? That will help you reach that top 0.1% of the crowd. So I would strongly recommend that as far as cat prep is concerned, don't give up hope. 90 days is a lot of time, and That's pretty much all from my end. Now, one of the questions that I've been uh, asked is, when it comes to CAT prep, a lot of people think that how to fix if you're going through a bad section, right? I'd rather suggest that if you're going through if a particular section, you're not doing well in a particular section, go back to the fundamentals, right? Go back to the fundamentals and try to learn the things that you are not comfortable at. So this will give you a lot of confidence, right? Go back to the basics. If you're not doing well with quants, go back to the NCRTs, learn the basics, come back and target difficult questions then. It is very imperative that if you are struggling with a particular section, don't just try to ignore it, or just don't just try to uh, feel overwhelmed by it and leave it, right? This will this will damage all the good work that you have done so far. Go back to the basics, learn things, and come back.
Right.
So
I think we'll just quickly revise a few things before we come towards the wrap up. So, sir, quickly, just few advices that we would love to have from you is 90 days से कम का टाइम है. कई स्टूडेंट्स अभी स्टार्ट करते हैं, उनकी ये भी क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं कि सर वी आर वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स, टाइम नहीं होता है, कुछ टाइम बचा है, 90 डेज का अप्रॉक्स बचा है, कैन वी प्रिपेयर, कैन वी स्टिल सिट फॉर कैट 2025, कैन वी स्टिल क्रैक द एग्जाम?
बिल्कुल, मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि बी स्कूल जो होते हैं, कैट प्रेप को फुल टाइम एक्टिविटी मानते ही नहीं है। इनफैक्ट आपने देखा भी होगा कि कॉलेज के बाद वो एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि आपके पास कुछ वर्क एक्सपीरियंस हो। सो कैट प्रिपरेशन इज नेवर अ फुल टाइम एक्टिविटी। यू डोंट नीड टू स्पेंड बियॉन्ड 4 to 5 hours of focused effort on a daily basis. So even if you're a full-time working person, make sure that you spend 2 hours before your working hours and 2 hours post your working hours to to actually do your stuff, right? You don't need to spend too much time beyond that.
So I think Aman and Darshit, thank you so much for joining us. You guys joined us on YouTube Live. Please feel free to share your questions or doubts जो भी आपके हैं related to your preparation or anything that you want to understand. This is a good time to, get in your doubts resolved before you move into your next step of preparations. We'll be coming up with more videos on this entire prep journey we have been doing for the last 2 months, and we are grateful to all the mentors who have been joining us here. And for the next few weeks, Sunny sir will be joining us and discussing a lot of different topics for your CAT prep journey. So in case there is anything that you stuck, you can also connect with him on LinkedIn. You can reach out to us via email, and we could help you get connected with him for anything that you want to understand regarding your CAT journey, anything regarding your prep journey. We have discussed a lot of topics individually. We have also discussed on the different subjects for CAT. We have also planned out how to prepare your schedule for the next few days. How should a topper's plan look like when you are preparing, and also trying to understand how you can profile your stream yourself out for IIMs in spite of not successfully being in CAT. So there are a lot of things that we are trying to discuss and trying to show different ways out of it. Understanding about mock test analysis strategies, how should your weekly schedule look like, how you have to focus section wise on all the subjects, how should be your mindset भी. I think सनी सर ने बहुत अच्छे से इस चीज को भी emphasis किया है कि आपका mindset क्या होना चाहिए. टाइम टेबल आपको भी बिल्कुल एग्जाम मोड में आ जाना है. अगले 90 डेज आपको सिर्फ इस पे ही फोकस रखना है, whether you're working, whether you're not working, but जैसे आप एग्जाम दोगे you have to get into that mold and अपने आप को fully prepare करना है that yes you're ready to sit for the exam, and that is what we are trying to understand and discuss here. टाइम मैनेजमेंट हैक्स, किस तरह से आपको पेपर देना है, किस सब्जेक्ट पर कितना टाइम आपको देना, दैट इज अगेन अ वेरी वेरी क्रूशियल थिंग, राइट? सो दीज आर समथिंग विच इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सम ऑफ यू डिड आस्क कि हमारा स्केड्यूल क्या होगा. आई थिंक वी ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दैट कि स्केड्यूल कैसा होना है, कैसे टाइम डिवाइड करना है, सुबह से शाम तक को कैसे आपको डिवाइड कर लेना है कि आप हर एक सब्जेक्ट को टाइम दे पाए, राइट? So all the important notifications, all the important exam details are there on shiksha.com. Please visit our pages on CAT exam pages for all the upcoming alerts and notifications regarding the CAT exams. Our team is constantly updating all the information. And if you wish to connect with Sunny Sir, please come back with us with an email, or you can directly, sir, if you want, you can just ping in your LinkedIn profile here as well. So you can connect with him straight away. He's a CAT mentor from IMS, have been coaching students, mentoring students, and guiding them for CAT journey. So if you wish to take suggestions and help, please feel free to reach out to our mentors. And if you have anything left, you can always come back to us with an email. We have also launched our Shiksha counseling, our Shiksha support numbers, which is flashing all over on the channel. You can also get connected with the team on that, right? All right. So that's a wrap up for today's session. So anything you would like to add on, and before we like wrap up the session for today?
I just like to extend my wishes and to shiksha.com and all my students out there. All the best to them. I hope that this session helped. If you have any more questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And do not forget to subscribe our new Shiksha BBA MBA channel as well, that we have recently launched. All the MBA and CAT sessions are also available there, and all the best for your CAT journey. So thank you so very much for joining us today.